Ekipa posebno izdanje, borilačkog specijala podcast Inkubatora, ali stvarno posebno izdanje, jer kao što znate naši podcasti već neko vrijeme idu live, ovaj put ćemo objaviti ovaj video sa take delayom, kako kažu, znači sa malim odmakom, emitirat će se najvjerovatnije u nedjelju, ali kad vidite kom je gost i koga smo uspjeli dovesti ovdje u studio, onda ćete i shvatiti zašto. Naime, sa mnom je čovjek koji je osnovao veliku poljsku promociju KSW, koji je doveo do ovih neslučajnih visina. Nitko ko prije par godina je pratio MMA sport nije vjerovao da će držati evente na stadionima koji imaju 100.000 mjesta, da će biti rasprodani i da će naš Roberto Soldić biti tamo jedna od najvećih, ako je ne i najveća zvijezda. Sa mnom je Martin Lewandowski, čovjek koji stoji iza svega i nadam se da ćete razumjeti zašto nije live. Martin, welcome to Podcast Inkubator. It's a great honor to have you here, and right away I want to congratulate you on everything that you did for not just KSW, but the whole MMA scene in Poland.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank you for having me here.
Yeah, like I told you before, this is not the first time that we met. We spoke like 7, 8, maybe even 9 years ago when KSW was not that large. Fight Channel was buying TV content from you, and it was great content. Even then you had a lot of Croatian fighters like Goran Reljic, Igor Pokrajac, all the guys that were later in the UFC. But you come a long way since then. Today KSW is like major promotions. What did you do?
What do I do for the KSW become such a popular?
Yeah, everything.
I think, you know, it's just hard work first, then the kind of probably intuition or something that you can read the sign from the market. And we just, like with my business partner Maciej, we don't stop really working. It's like our baby, so it's like we grew every time, and we need to change because of this event. We need to change because of changing, you know, the world is changing, so we need to keep up with the tempo, you know. The world is spinning up actually. So but we are on the level, that's true, that we feel like we reach maybe not the ceiling, but we are very close to the ceiling in Poland. As you mentioned, that's what I understood that you mentioned about National Stadium.
Yes.
In your intro. Yeah, so this is the biggest venue in Poland. We sold out nearly 58,000 tickets. So when you reach this, it's really hard to go bigger. And this is why we got kind of become maybe a little bit hungry, but it's not about, you know, being, I don't know, super promoter. It's just the expansion of the brand. We are the businessmen, and we understand if you don't move, so you are making one step, you know, back.
Yes.
You know, so that's why we decided to go and expand our brand outside of Poland. And of course Europe is the continent we want to grow. In England we are going to be in a week time, 14th of September. That will be our third show on London, Wembley. We did one show in Ireland, and here I am to make it happen for very first time in Croatia, Zagreb.
That's great to hear. After K1, after Glory, after UFC, you will be the fourth big promotion that is probably coming to Zagreb. We cannot confirm it yet, but you're here on some meetings because you had some meetings with officials and everybody involved with the venue. It will be probably in Arena Zagreb. What can you tell us? What did you do until now about the plans for event in Zagreb?
Oh, we had, thanks to Ivan Djakovic, he is the guy who is sitting just on the
over
left.
there, yeah.
Yeah, I need to mention this because really this guy opened my eyes for this region, you know, Balkan region. I understood that, you know, Croatia, you know, and all other countries around Croatia is a very good, and it used to be a huge fighting industry here.
Yeah.
Like I can compare this to Holland, Netherlands, you know, but suddenly one day just disappear. Everything in you just collapse. And as you could see, we hired more Balkan fighters on every show. You could see all those each you know, like in Poland you have ski, sky, etc. So so all the Balkans. So that was our approach. That one day we want to come to Croatia. So we had a couple of meetings with officials. We spoke with the people who represent the industry over here. I went, of course, to Mirko Cro Copom. Actually, he invited me to train, so I was
wow,
also
you met Mirko today?
Yes.
Wow, you will tell us about that.
And we were training, so it was a good experience. I wanted to, but I didn't. You know, I thought it will be like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and he put me like, I don't know, 2.5 hour training. So tomorrow we are going to meet with people from TV, ticketing, you know, maybe some sponsors. So everything what you need to establish first. Media patronate also, you know, this is very important issue when you want to grow anything in a new country. We need to learn your mentality, and we need to learn what works, what doesn't work. You just can't go with our circus, we call it circus. You can't go on each country and making the same business model. You need to adapt to the circumstances we are, you know, which are in a different country. So we will be definitely making different promotion for London show and different from Zagreb show.
Okay, what can we expect? What will be some approximate date of the event that you are planning, and what do you think, how far are you from getting to the final, I don't know, contract, or saying, yeah, we will come to Zagreb definitely? Because it's been saying, no, you can hear for 3 or 4 months that KSW is planning maybe Novi Sad in Serbia, maybe Belgrade, maybe Zagreb, but this is, I think, that the most serious attempt, because actually you are here, so something is happening.
It is, and I can tell you a big surprise. So everything is planned. So the very first time the Croatian show would be held the 9th of November in Arena Zagreb. So it will be like in nearly 2 months' time. So that would be a huge...
This is exclusive stuff, guys.
So yes, that's why actually this is the fight week before the London show, and it happened really first time in my life that during the fight week, I'm not there when there is a fight week, but I need to come to just close the deals and just to make it sure that the show in Zagreb will happen. And I believe it will, So actually we can say 9th of November, Arena Zagreb, more than 15,000 people and guests are expecting, so huge work in front of us. So this year KSW will make 2 international shows. So this is also one big step forward for us as a promoter, as a organization, you know, because we never did, you know, 2 international shows outside of our country.
What was the experience meeting Mirko Cro Copom? You said you also trained with him, you went for dinner with him. What was the experience? This is the first time that you met him, or you...
No, actually he was a VIP guest. That was KSW 4th, I believe. He was with Igor Pokrajac.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He was a kind of VIP guest when he was fighting, so he was also a cornerman. But you know, it was a big thing for us. You know, Mirko, he is a big name till now. But you know, when was it, like more than 13 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
He was the hugest, you know. So when he came, he didn't took any money from us. He just wanted, you know, to guarantee the hotel and flight and some, you know, benefits, but no money, like, you know, you need to pay for such a huge name. So we were shocked. We were shocked with my business partner. We just thought we have a saying, I don't know if you have the same, that we caught God's leg, you know what I mean? You have so it's like, wow,
the same expression,
came to, you know, 4th, KSW 4th. That was the time when we did the show in the Champions restaurant. So that was for 300, 400 people maximum, you know. So that was a small, tiny restaurant for in the Marriott Hotel. I was working there as a promotion manager. That's why I could manage to make it happen also in the Marriott. So yeah, and that was the time when we met Mirko, but it was very official. And to be honest, I'm really surprised how nice this guy is. All the talks, you know, because in the industry, even if it's so big, it's small.
Yeah,
you know, people talk about people.
Very small.
Yeah. So when you and really all those, I think it's a myth about how naughty Cro Copom is. Really nice guy.
You know, I think that people talk because everybody wants something from Mirko. You know, he's walking down the street, everybody is just, you know, pulling his hand, please give me this, give me that. So he's a little bit cautious. I can understand that because he's actually really, really, really huge star. He doesn't have 1 minute of rest here in Croatia or anywhere in the world. So I can understand that he probably built some wall around him. I would say like that, you know. It's understandable.
Am I right if I say that he is the biggest name, Croatian name known outside of Croatia?
Definitely.
Like if
Him
I don't know,
probably
president or I don't know, soccer player.
Luka Modric, Mirko Cro Copom, and probably Janica Kostelić. I think that this is like the most known people from Croatia. Yeah, but in fight business, Cro Copom is one of the biggest stars ever, I would say. Yeah, so we are lucky to have him because everything that happened here, actually, it's kind of a product of what he did all these years.
Sure.
Can we talk a little bit about the people that will probably fight here, not just by name, but altogether? I think that you will probably get some local guys, some regional guys, because we won't have just guys from Croatia, but from Serbia, Montenegro, because like you said, you recently signed a lot of fighters from Balkans.
The general idea is to have not less than 40% of the fight card base with, you know, the fighters who originally are from Croatia or the countries like, you know, Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro. So we are looking for sure, you know, every single talent which might just, you know, show that KSW is the top notch, and we want the best fighters from this region to present, because you need to also remember, I believe that some of those guys, and you from the fight channel, you have to know that we are also distributed globally. So this signal from the Croatia will be seen to the whole world, really, from US, Brazil, Japan, you know, the whole nearly Europe. So everywhere where you could have the access to the internet from our platform KSW-TV.com, or you can watch on your cable network. So so I think it's a big. It's not only big for KSW. It's also big for this market. And this is what I, you know, compare with the Holland and Croatia. I feel sorry that it happened for those two countries, yours and Holland, because I was a fan, you know, of many of fighters from Holland, and Mirko of course too. And so my kind of personal dream would be to rebuild this, you know, market here in Croatia, and I believe that with our presence here as a KSW, we can help to grow. And we are not going to be back. I mean, we are not going to come just only once in a lifetime. We want to be here like every year. So the potential is like every year we want, or the idea, we want to make one show per year. Zagreb, or maybe, you know, in closest, it depends how it goes. Maybe we need to move a little bit, you know, to a different, maybe not country, but different venue. So we will see how it goes. But the idea is to stick with this, you know, region for good.
What can you tell us about the fighters from Balkan countries? Besides that their last name ends with Rich or whatever, you signed a lot of them, you had experience with them before, you have even more experience now. What can you tell us about them from your own perspective? How do you see them?
Tough fighters, and crazy guys, you know, like really, really crazy. Like, you know, we already have a couple of these guys who are, but also Goran Lelic, who was our first international champion, you know, from out of Poland. He, you know, because Polish were dominated, and now it's like vice versa. It's like, you know, it's a completely different world, and the Polish are minority right now. So so Goran was the first guy who really made a big impression. He was representing KSW in Rising tournament.
I remember that.
Yeah, so we have still, you know, like a lot of good feelings and memories about Croatia. Really, never been disappointed, and really, you know, Croatian, like Irish and like Polish. I think, you know, those three countries we like fighting, and those guys who enter the cage, enter the rings, you know, they fucking good.
Yeah, but I think that you did a good comparison, because every time somebody mentions Polish people or Irish people, we always say they're really similar to us because of the hard history we had, you know. It makes you tough, right?
Yeah.
So at the end. But you also signed a lot of guys from Serbia, from Montenegro. Alexander Ilic had a great debut. He knocked out Janikosi, as I remember. Filip Page now, of course, he's Croatian. The guy from Montenegro also that had a spectacular, he almost got a win. Remember him? So you brought all these guys from different countries. Erko Jun, I'm sorry, I forgot about him. Yeah, he's a big star. So
he becomes bigger and bigger, and for sure, you know, we'll try to put every single guy on that fight card. You know, so even I would love Roberto also fights there. But
wow,
you know,
you think so? Yeah, he's fighting in a few days.
Yeah, so we need to wait what will be the verdict, how he feels after the fight, no injuries. So, but yeah, I think it will be great for him to represent Croatia in Croatia, and just, you know, for the very unique show, because everything what's happened for the first time is sort of unique. So yeah.
How do you find measure between show and sports? Because I think that KSW actually doing a great job in that area. You always know how to recognize, okay, this is maybe too much. We need to bring sports, a little bit more sport. And then sometimes you have guys like Erko, he's like a mixture of show business and sport, but you just do it right. How do you decide on that? Not to go over the edge, but just, you know, to cope with it.
It's a kind of feeling. You know, business intuition. With my business partner, from the very day one, we decided that the sport is very important, but we need to entertain people from, you know, every single angle. It's like, I always like to compare this with the movie. You know, whenever you go to the cinema, you want to watch the movie from the, you know, beginning till the end, when the cast, all the, you know, when it's finished, and it has to be like one good meal you want to eat and enjoy. So this is not only about the sports, but this is all about the ambience, the environment. That's why we put a lot of attention to the production quality. That's why we have a huge stage. That's why we have a lot of lightings. Our sound equipment, and sometimes the lighting are even better than in some of these concerts. You know, because people don't know it, but really though, those sound and lighting, sometimes it's like you are using this for really good concerts. So yeah, and that's one thing. The other, we love to take some of these guys like Erko, who has millions of followers.
Like Pudzianowski.
Of course, and there were many
Rozalski,
guys.
A lot of these guys, yeah.
These guys were freaks at the beginning, but very soon they got into MMA so hard and so badly that they transform and they want to be MMA fighter. That's what happened with Pudzianowski. It was a huge also impact for our business. You know, that was the massive commercial success for us. You know, really everybody in Poland talked about KSW that day when Pudzianowski was having his debut. And so these guys, we felt, yes, this is a good point, just from time to time pick those desserts and just to make it more rich in taste and flavor. You know, if I don't know why I'm comparing to the cuisine.
I just eat.
I just ate with Mirko and Ivan, and I'm full actually. Yeah, so but I think that's the way. I love UFC, but the way I've been a couple UFCs really around the world, and this is what's missing. And this is maybe not a shame because it's not their business model, but this is only, you don't know what's happening. The guy is already in the cage. There is no entertainment around. There is no like glory. That's why we were, you know, a big fan of Pride.
Yeah.
When Pride was really huge.
Yeah. One can tell, that you took a lot from them, like the ideas. And
yeah, we make even one show. I think it was KSW-13, I believe. So ages ago, we dedicate like a Pride tribute, you know, because we want to thanks to this what really inspired us. And now Mr. Sakikabara comes to our show and, you know, watch it live, and this is nice, you know, that you can reach the level that the guys who we as a kids, maybe not the kids because we're, you know, quite a lot when we started with KSW, but still we were young, you know, blokes and watched Pride, and it was like, no, we are not going to reach this level, no fucking way. It ever happened, you know, in Poland, and yeah, so, you know, when you're doing a Pride show or somebody compare you to a Pride show, I must say, nice. I feel pride.
Hell yeah.
I feel pride.
Yeah, of course. I have to say some nice words about your announcer. I think that he is the best in the world. I really admire Michael Buffer and Bruce Buffer, but this guy is better. Okay, you did a great job finding him. I don't know his story, but he's unique. I always, when I hear his voice, and for example, I hear that he's announcing Roberto Soldić, I just, you know, I feel like these goosebumps.
Good,
I'm like, I'm like, wow, this guy is great. And this microphone comes down and he's like into that. Congratulations. How did he come to the KSW? I don't know the story.
He used to be a very famous rapper. So he rapped, he has a lot of, you know, records you can listen. Valdemar Casta, Wally.
But how did you recognize him?
No, my business partner met him on some party somewhere on the seaside accidentally, and he listened his voice and called me, listen, we have a great MC, new MC, because we had a couple MCs in our history, and really he is the best, yeah. From everything was from the MC point of view, he knows, and because he feels the rhythm, because he's a musician, you know, so also because of his voice, you know, he's huge guy, you know, big, tall, so that's why it sounds so good.
Yeah, it's perfect. What's the secret of KSW in Poland? Not just the whole world, but in Poland. The biggest, the most important thing that you put in and that makes difference between you and, for example, even UFC. I was a guest of UFC in 2016 when Cro Copom was fighting Gabriel Gonzaga in Krakow. I think it was Echo Arena or something like that. I don't remember Echo. And it was half... Tauron Arena, yes.
Krakow.
Yeah, and it was half empty. It was not full. And as I hear from Ivan and guys from Poland, you are always sold out. What's the difference? Because UFC, we have to admit, is the first promotion, the best promotions in the world, and they have problems in Poland selling tickets, and you're always sold out. What's the secret ingredient? Can you tell us?
I can't tell.
Please, it's an exclusive show.
No, listen, like, I think that they feel that they can do everything the same way they were doing in US. You know, so that's what I actually said, that you need to adapt your business model. Actually, that was the guy who used to work for UFC, because he's no longer with UFC. He was in charge of the Europe, and I call him, you know, make the contact, tell him, listen, you are coming to our land. You know, you are welcome. You know, we don't feel that you are competitors, because we know our people much better than you will know for years. Yeah. So, but he said, I don't need you. You know, so maybe a little bit of ignorance, a little bit of don't pay attention on the market and the needs, and you know, they came to a country when KSW, people want to train KSW. Maybe not now, but it used to be that people, what are you doing? I'm training KSW.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, so
it's like synonym for the whole sport.
Yes, and so it was strong, and still is strongly related, MMA with KSW, that UFC, it's like, you know, what for? You know, so people but of course, UFC is doing now much better job. They came with the second show to Poland. They make quite nice, probably because of McGregor, who was just going, you know, around the cage. Yeah, but still, you know, Poland for them, it will be like a country they will visit once, I don't know, every 2 or 3 years. Yeah. You know, they need to jump to different countries, you know, as a global brand, so they need to do it. So I feel actually that this is helping build, you know, and establishing MMA in Poland, or even globally, but we're talking about the Poland, or your question was about the Poland, then it's ruin, you know, Polish MMA or something. It just makes, you know, more stronger as a discipline. You also need to remember that 15 years ago, when we have started with first KSW, and we decided to promote MMA, MMA was in a shit situation.
Yeah.
You were associated with the hooligans, mafia, criminals, you know, dogs fighting, you know, illegal fights. Everything would, you know, bad PR, the worst case. So we need to jump over that, build some heroes, show that this is a sport, it's legal, it has rules, and etc., etc. So that's why it took quite long, you know, to build it in that way that we can fill National Stadium after 13 years.
Yeah, and you did a great job. Now you have your 50th event in London. Do you feel proud when you can say, okay, this is our anniversary event, it's 50th, and we are doing it in the big venue in London, not just in Poland, but in London. We will bring not just Polish stars, but Croatian stars and a lot of English stars, the guys who were in the best promotions of the world, like in UFC, like Phil de Vries or Norman Park or whatever. Do you feel proud? Is this something, not just event, but a statement? Okay, we are bigger now than Poland, but there are borders, we can do it even in England. Because you know that UFC had a lot of problems with England. This was like the hardest market to adapt, and they never did it quite well until the end. I think that you nailed it pretty well.
So you got it right. I mean, that was, you know, from my point, it's a kind of symbol that we are going more into Europe. And those 50, it's not in Poland, but we celebrate outside of Poland. So yeah, you got it right.
Yeah, okay. Can we talk a little bit about Roberto Soldić? He is part of...
Excuse me, who?
Roberto. Yeah, you never heard about him.
No,
yeah.
First time I hear
He is part of KSW only for 2 years, but I feel that he became not just one of the biggest stars in KSW, but one of the biggest welterweight stars in the world. When people talk about him, even some analysts from UFC, like, I don't know, like, whatever, Paul Daly, kako se zove čovjek koji je, it's not important. Yeah, okay. They say that he's one of the best, maybe top 10 welterweights in the world. He adapted quite well and quite fast to Polish audience, I feel. How big is he a star in your country? Because I think he's even bigger star in your country than in ours.
Yeah, he is a really big name. He has this unique skill of entering the market with so easy and very specific and nicely dedicated content, like, you know, the way how he talks, the way how he behaves, that, you know, whatever he does, actually, it was really, people were just like clapping hands and they really enjoy what Roberto did. Plus, he did what he did in the cage. He beat up our former champion, so that was also like, you know, he was a nice, sexy guy, you know, for the ladies, and attractive for a man, and with this, what he did in the cage, it was like double it. So he has to become a great and very well-known guy. But this is something you have to be born with it, you know. It just this, I don't know what we call it, just, I don't know, soul, or, you know, something which is just a genes, you know. So a different way of saying, but he has this unique way of communicate with people, and he's doing this naturally so well that people just buy it, you know, and just like him. And
did you think that he will return after the first defeat with Dricus Duplessis? After that, you know, a lot of people started suspecting him, thinking, you know, it was all a fluke. Maybe he had some luck, but at the end, after that fight, he has now 3 best fights in his career, 3 KOs, and he looks even more impressive than before. Did you start also doubting him, maybe, or you knew that he will come back?
This is, luckily, we are in the business when lost one fight means nothing. I mean, of course, it means for the fighter, for the coaches, for the trainers, you know, for everybody who are in his camp, that he needs to, or they need to, you know, change the game plan. They need to change many things. But I like when fighters are losing, really. because it's not about only the fighters, but in business you have to lose sometimes. You need to fail. You know, when you are winning all the time, it makes you lazy. You know, and it happens so often, not only in KSW, in different organizations. When you become so big, popular, you kick this guy, you know, knock out the other, choke the other, you feel that you are unstoppable, and you stop, you know, paying attention that there might be, the young guys are growing and they know how to read your game plan. And so this one, and it was too fresh, you know. Roberto, he came, he was just like, not the miracle, I don't know what's the word, but he was like kind of, you know, really people were shocked. And then his loss with Dricus, it was, yeah, it happened. Maybe he was thinking, you know, that he can do the same what he did previously. But as you see now, he just took and learned his lesson, you know. So, you know, he did his homework. So I think, yeah, so it wasn't like, oh no, okay, it was just accidentally. I'm far of saying such things to the fighters.
I have to ask you about one more guy. I already mentioned one guy from Montenegro, Savo Lazić, that's part of your promotion. But one big star in this region is also Vaso Bakocevic. He already fought for KSW. He has crazy amount of followers on Instagram, like hundreds of thousands. People will kill for him. When he comes here for the podcast, in front of our studio, there's a line just for the pictures and stuff like that. Is it possibility that he comes again in KSW? Because there were some talks, I know. Can you tell us something about that? Because he is a huge star.
Vaso, I'm coming for you.
That would be
No,
nice.
Of course, everything's possible, man.
It's
of course,
possible.
I won't lie. He's one of the picks, you know, we have on the map and on the list. He used to be in KSW. Then now
He had some good fights. He lost some fights, but it was close. Yeah, it was not bad.
And he changed his weight category.
Yeah.
He was just, I think, he lost the way when he wants to go. I think he wants to pick too many birds, you know, in one time. I think he grew now. He's more stable, even if he's still psychopath a little bit. So he's still, a little bit. So yeah, we do the talking with him.
Okay, great. When you're so open, I can ask you then. When I'm, we're doing great. Yes, so I can do it. Are you working on the fight between Erkoyun and Pudzianowski? Because this is the fight again that's been talked about for a long time, and I think that people wouldn't mind it at all. I think it would be a hit.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying about the next fight, but somewhere in the future. I don't know.
Now, if we are talking about the show which will happen in Croatia, so I think I would go for it and I will vote. I want to see this fight here in this country, not anywhere else.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
If you can do it,
so
I think
that's the plan, and I think you can count on it.
Wow, thank you.
If the show in Croatia will happen, of course, but if, you know, we have belief it will happen.
Where do you see KSW in 5 years? You said before that 15 years ago you never imagined that you will be selling out venues in England, and probably you have some plan now, because you said that you probably reached the top in Poland, but there is the rest of the world. Now you have like 5 or 6 events a year. Do you ever see KSW being something like Bellator or UFC, global network, global promotion that will have a lot of events and be globally present?
I think in 5 years, I dream to, you know, have this feeling that we might be really solid and really number one in Europe and be visible in many countries, not like we are in England. We did Ireland, let's put it Croatia. I think we'll put Germany on the map also, maybe Czech, maybe Sweden, maybe Italy, because it's growing. So there are a couple of new countries we are really focusing on. So just to be and flood KSW with our show, with our entertainment, with our fighters, but just Europe first. Really, it's 5 years. It's maybe it's a long trip, but still to build the brand, you know, within the country, it's not much, you know. So if we become a really the best in Europe, I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus, because I can't forget about my homeland and Poland, in Poland, so this is what I'm also concentrating on right now, is just to build the amateur scene. I have opened the MMA Poland Association, and it's building the amateurs scene really from the beginning. There is something happening, but it really needs to be more stabilized. It needs to have a lot of more rules, more regulations to become really like a recognized sport, but not only by people, but also by the government, you know, but people who run sports in our country. So, and it also guarantee more safety, you know, for the whole industry. It's not, and professional MMA will only benefit out of this amateur what happens. So, yeah.
Of course. So this is your second focus. Ivan Dijakovic, you already mentioned him, the guy who, I would say, opened the door for the Balkan fighters in your promotion. Will you say that's correct? Because first it was just Roberto, and then Antun Račić, and then Erko Jun, and now like 10 guys.
Yes.
What did you see in him? What kind of relationship did you have so he can open your eyes on this level?
What do you mean? Like?
Yeah, because, you know, he's just a manager. He brought one fighter, and, you know, now he brought 10 of them. You said that he just opened your eyes about this region.
Yes.
You have good relationship also?
Yeah, sure. No. If I wouldn't come with him, and, you know, he wouldn't be so much supportive. Yes, it's like, I think it's like with every human beings. But in our industry, there are fighters you have a great relation with. Some you just respect them, they respect you, but you don't go, you know, far into kind of friendship or even really good relation.
Yeah,
and the same with the managers. There are some managers who want you to help to grow, because of course there is a business for everybody, for the fighters, for the trainers, for the coaches, for the managers, etc. So, but there are some people who don't have so much ego, you know, and I think Ivan is one of them. So he likes to help and make people just to grow, because with you know, if you grow and I'm with you, so I grow, even if I grow smaller, but I grow with you. And if you cut, you know, so you just take everything for yourself. So this is about the ego, what I said, the ego problem, you know. So I think, and he has this, I don't know, honesty, you know, and sometimes we were actually talking in the car that he is too good to some people, you know, because when you are too good, people
take advantage of it.
Yes, and they don't appreciate it, you know. And this is how the world goes now. So sometimes you just need to smack, or to be just rude to people, or just to keep the distance, and they feel, okay, this guy, you know, I can't come closer, or I need to feel more respect. So.
Yeah, they mistake your kindness for weakness. Yeah, it's always like that.
And they use it.
Yeah. About your personal preferences, about the fighters. What are your favorite fighters? This is the end of the conversation. I know it's very late. I know that you had a lot of meetings today. So I'll just at the end ask you about your personal preferences. What kind of fighters do you like? What's your fighting style? What kind of Polish fighters would you say that you appreciate a lot? And even some legends. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah,
some of the guys that are, you know, favorites of your fighters.
Yeah, like, you know, before or just in the beginning of KSW, some of the top pride fighters were those ones who were, you know, the heroes. But when UFC took over and they started really rolling with this business every month a show, so those being a hero become a little bit less important, you know. And with the fighting style, it changes, to be honest. In the beginning, you know, there were too many grappling and ground game, so I prefer more stand-up. Now, actually, there was a one, Shamil from Russia, the one of the guy who came and showed such a nice ground game, and I realized I really missed that so long, you know, because everybody wants to be a, you know, stand-up fighter. Everybody wants to get the KO of the night, fight of the night. And they even if they are a grappler, if they are a wrestler, they would prefer to, you know, just to do the stand-up fighting, which is good, which is entertaining. I have nothing against. But sometimes when you watch, I don't know, 100 fights, you just you just pick, you know, those which you are missing, and in that case was really a beautiful ground game.
Yeah.
So that was a...
Altogether, what would you say? What is your favorite fighter of all times?
I think I don't have any
You don't have
no.
that. And KSW, is
yeah.
maybe Mehmet Khalid of the biggest
Yeah.
stars ever,
Yeah,
I would
I
say,
think,
yeah.
because Mehmet also... we are feeling that we...
He was your first big star, I would
Yes.
say, yeah, right?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned about Pudzianowski, who was, you know, a kind of really commercial success. So Mehmet was a very kind of sports success. People really, thanks to him, start looking at KSW. You know, they will become more fans of definitely Mehmet, but it's not only because of he's a great fighter, also because he's got great personality, and we know each other for years. You know, he was the one who also opened the door for KSW outside of Poland. I'm talking about that we flew with him to different countries like Japan, United States, and he represent KSW. So this was, you know, I was his cornerman. So you know, when you are close to the fighter, so it's hard then to. Yeah, it's a special bond.
And he was loyal also. I remember at one time he was one of the best fighters in his category in the world, and he never left KSW. People always talked, yeah, he will live for UFC, he will live for Bellator, but no, at the end, till the end, he stayed at KSW. That's important. And I think that you should be probably proud, because a lot of fighters who came here, who fight for KSW, like Page, like Soldić, like Erko, like Ilić, when I ask him, do you want to go to UFC? Most of them say, no, I feel really, really good at KSW. I think that, you know, it's a better place for me than UFC. So I think you should be proud for that.
No, it's nice to hear, because we put a lot of attention to the fighters' relation. You know, we know them by name. I don't think Dana White knows all of the fighters.
No way.
You know, there are just too many. Maybe it happened one day, you know, to us that it will be, I don't know, 3,000 fighters, and you just can't remember those names and when they come from. But yeah, we just, I can't say that we are kind of family business or kind of home business, you know, kind of because it's a big enough organization for that. But still, the contact between the promoter, CEO, us, and the fighter is very, you know, small.
Yeah.
So I think this also makes them that they really know that we not appreciate, but we see and hear their needs, you know, and very often we react what they need. And so it's not like sometimes I call UFC as a factory, you know, you just go and just fight by fight, show by show, you just sleep 2 months and, you know, all the ranking has changed, new faces come up, you know, new champions, new champion.
I think that's their goal, because they now build the first performance center, now they're building the second one in China. That's like having a factory, you know, bringing the guys, making the fighters out of them, putting them on the event. So I think at the end they just want to cut out everything else, just, you know, making their own fighters. I think that's the idea at the end.
I mean, on the
like making a perfect soldier, you know, perfect. Like in the Performance Institute, they have everything just to make a perfect fighter. I think that's their goal at the end.
There are two things. First, on such a scale like UFC is, you need to have, I know, format of the show, format what people need to talk, do, and how they feel and how do they react. You can't just, you know, do it with every single person individually. That's one thing. The other, that's, you know, I've been a couple of times in Las Vegas, and I've been in the institute, and I spoke with many people from UFC, and really they invest a lot of money into the industry. You know, starting from the amateur, healthy for the fighters,
definitely.
You know, so this is a big impact, and nobody can afford that on such a scale, only UFC, and this is what I can have to admit, you know, so you can like it or don't like it, but they are doing a good job globally for the market, you know, it's so. Definitely.
Mr. Lewandowski, thank you for this conversation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you will come back before, if everything goes well, and we will have KSW in Zagreb in November. Hope you will come again to announce the event here in our podcast.
Yeah, I believe that you are going to, this podcast will be full of fighters from KSW in Croatia.
Yeah. We are definitely the most popular fighting podcast and altogether podcast in this part of the world, so we'll be glad to be your platform.
Perfect.
Thank
so
you one more time.
We have a deal, huh?
Definitely.
Officially.
Yeah, thank you one more time.
Thank you, man.